Breaking news. We know several people were hurt during a home explosion on the city's west side.
It says that someone needs to be rescued from a balcony, and there's a subject bleeding from the head.
The explosion caused part of a condo building to collapse. Neighbors heard it happen.
And everything just like a bomb went off, just exploded. I guess the best way to characterize it is stuff exploded off my walls.
Tonight we are live on the scene. We've got you covered on what firefighters say happened, the investigation, and how this is affecting other people in the neighborhood.
From 27 News WKOW, this is breaking news.
Right now, you're looking live at the site of the explosion on Madison's west side. It is still a very active scene along South Gammon Road. You can see the road is shut down and the block is taped off while firefighters investigate. They say 4 people were hurt after that explosion.
One of them was taken to the hospital. All of their injuries are minor.
This all started just before 6 p.m. along South Gammon Road on Madison's southwest side. Callers reported an explosion at South Gammon and Park Ridge Drive. That's south of the Beltline and before you hit Elver Park. Firefighters got there minutes later.
We have no fire at this time, but we do have a totally collapsed front of a structure, multi-unit residential.
They found part of the building had collapsed with pieces of wood, siding, and insulation thrown across the front yard and into the roadway.
Caroline Dade is there live now. And Caroline, we know people got hurt in this explosion, but do we know the extent of their injuries at this hour?
Yeah, Brandon, Madison Fire Chief Chris Carbon says first responders took 1 person to the hospital. Right now, we don't know what their injuries are. He says 3 other people went to the hospital on their own and they all have minor injuries. Now here at the scene of this explosion, if we take a look, we can see the front of a condo is just crumbling with major damage. The fire chief says the entire building is uninhabitable, but he says so far crews haven't found anyone stuck inside the building and there are no reports of missing people. Right now, the fire department doesn't know what caused the explosion, but the chief says the first thing crews will look at is if gas played a role.
We've got a list of things that we'll look out, and we typically do the very same thing. One after the next, we'll look at all the facts, we'll put them together, we'll rule things in, rule things out, and narrow it down.
We talked with a woman who lives just 2 doors down from the unit that exploded. She says she felt it. It felt like a rumble. And now she says there's a lot of damage in her home.
I guess the best way to characterize it is stuff exploded off my walls. So my shelving, pictures, everything just blew right off my walls. And then I had like some glass faces on top of a entertainment center. Those just blew up. I mean, seriously, it looks like someone took a baseball bat in there. There's just stuff everywhere.
Fire officials say at least 6 units are in this building and another building has damage too. But right now, we don't know how many people live in those units. This scene is still very active. Gammon Road is still closed. The fire chief says he expects it to stay closed for at least another 1 to 2 hours. And then beyond that, the investigation to try to figure out what happened will last much longer. Reporting live in Madison, Caroline Dade, 27 News.
27 News alerted you to this breaking news with an alert on the 27 News Now app. Download that app tonight to stay up to date on the breaking news and the day's biggest stories.